all my shoes are black. I go, I don't have gray shoes. She goes, you have white shoes? I'm like, yeah, but I don't wear them in the wintertime. Yeah, it was painful. I've stopped running most of the time for the train.
Not worth it, yeah.
I leave right at 4, and I know I can make it there in 15 minutes.
Don't need to risk injury.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'll call the meeting to order. Good morning. My name is, oops, what am I, that thing is oversensitive today. Good morning. My name is Councillor Shelley Carroll, and I'm the chair of the FIFA World Cup 2026 Subcommittee. We have quorum. I'm now calling meeting number 3 to order. So welcome, everyone. Today's meeting is being held by video conference and in person at City Hall in Committee Room 2. This meeting is also being live streamed at youtube.com/Toronto City Council Live. And I'll now do our land acknowledgement. Although we may be meeting in different locations today, the committee would like to acknowledge that the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 of the Mississaugas of the Credit, and it's also our custom to make an African ancestral acknowledgement. Though I'm not a person of African descent, I am committed to continually acting in support of and in solidarity with Black communities seeking freedom and reparative justice in light of the history and ongoing legacy of slavery that continues to impact Black communities in Canada. As part of this commitment, I would also like to acknowledge that not all people came to these lands voluntarily. I specifically wish to acknowledge those of us who came here involuntarily, particularly those brought to these lands as a result of the transatlantic slave trade and slavery. In support of the City of Toronto's ongoing efforts to confront anti-Black racism, I pay tribute to those ancestors of African origin and descent. Members, City Council has provided all agenda materials for today at toronto.ca/council. And it's also on the clerk's meeting portal. Clerk's IT staff are available to members of the committee if you need help with your devices to get to that. And I also want to remind you that if there are motions on today's item, to please submit and approve your motions by email. Staff are available to help you with that at exc@toronto.ca to help with those motions. Are there any declarations of interest under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act? Seeing none, it looks like we can proceed. First off, can I get a motion to confirm the minutes of the meeting of November 4th, 2024? Deputy Mayor Malik, excellent. All in favor of approving the minutes? Councillor Ainsley is in the affirmative, so that's unanimous. Thank you very much. So we don't have to do a consent agenda because there's just one big item. So councillors, there's one item and it's fairly straightforward and in sections. So I don't know if you were planning a presentation. I think we could go straight to questions. Okay, super. Are there questions on the item? Councillor Ainsley, any questions?
No, none from Councillor Ainsley. All good. Okay,
excellent. Deputy Mayor Malik?
Thank you very much. And first of all, really appreciate the update and for staying closely accountable on the direction and the targets that we've set when it comes to this particular aspect of hosting the games. And I wanted to just, I guess, hear a little bit more about what the experience has been around implementing some of the commitments related to community benefits and workforce development and social procurement, to describe a little bit more around the progress and some of the lessons, if there have been, about how we continue to move forward and meet our targets.
So the progress has been moving quite well with respect to the Community Workforce Development Program. We see this as an opportunity to go above and beyond what the city is procuring to create workforce development opportunities that in particularly are targeting youth in the city so that we can leverage hiring opportunities and engage with community benefits employer champions in a way that could potentially create a legacy program going forward. And so at this point, in terms of a few key points for progress, we are in the stage of rolling out an invitation package to potential community benefits employers champions, as well as doing some planning around engaging with community organizations that, in particular, that support youth job seekers, so that we can ensure that we are linking both the opportunities with the communities.
Thank you. And what's the time frame for that? And we know this. And that is particularly that aspect of the work doesn't happen quickly or overnight. So what is the time frame on getting that program online?
At this point, our projection is aiming to connect and secure with community benefits employer champions around summer, beginning in around summer. Looking into launching into training opportunities come fall. And at the earliest, looking into engaging in employment hiring opportunities in Q1 of 26, as early as Q1 26. So this is our projected aspirational timeline at this point.
And I guess kind of shifting gears, particularly on the procurement process, I'd like to hear a little bit more about how that is progressing and some of the key learnings, I guess, any roadblocks that you're that you're experiencing, and how you're addressing them as we go into the next phase of procurements.
Yeah, so with the major procurements, as noted in the report, many of those are being finalized, and we hope to see the workforce development plans from those larger vendors in the coming weeks and months, so hopefully more to report next time. In terms of many of the smaller value invitational ones where we're targeting direct invitations to diverse suppliers, we have made a number of those invitations. There's been some challenges with response rates, and we've also had a couple of instances where uncertified but self-declared diverse suppliers have been successful. So we're just working through with the program advisory body how we handle the uncertified suppliers and continue to identify ways to remove barriers to participation for the certified ones as well.
That's really important to hear, and I'm glad to hear that the program advisory body is being well engaged in this process, and part of working through challenges as we kind of engage on this front, in not for the first time, but definitely in a new way and with some unique constraints. I guess I'm interested to hear a little bit more, and what wasn't quite clear in this report was how we are tracking to targets and what the commitment is, or that we can see as we move forward, about how that will be made visible and appropriately for us, and to ensure that that we are keeping pace, given how the games feel very closer than ever.
Yeah, I appreciate that they feel close, but with most of those large procurements not awarded, we don't have good line of sight into subcontracting opportunities, and the invitational solicitations have been a very small handful of numbers. So low numbers so far, and so hopefully with some of those large ones being finalized in the coming months, we'll have something of substance we can report on next quarter.
Thank you. I just have a couple of questions myself. Madam
Chair, it's Peruzza. I don't know if you want to go before me, but I have a couple of questions as well.
Oh, sorry, Councillor Peruzza. We did not realize you were even joining the meeting. I didn't have you in my layout, the screen that I'm looking at. You're joining us by phone?
My happy, shiny face, it should be on your screen somewhere. I know it is on mine, reflectively.
Oh, there it is. Now you're here. Better late than never. Now we're looking at your happy face. Go ahead. I'll start the clock over again. You go first, Councillor Peruzza.
Actually, Madam Chair, I wasn't late. I was in the waiting room. IT took some time in letting me into the meeting. For some reason, there's a big delay these days, and I'm curious about that. But I've been here from the beginning. Heard your land acknowledgement and all your other comments as well. Okay, just to let you know.
Gotcha.
Yeah, sure. There you go. So the first question related to recommendation one, the purchase of your of the major special the hospitality, whatever you're calling it here, the $10.7 million, the commercial hospitality program. Could someone just spell out really quickly what that purchase looks like? What are we buying there? I know that in the report you talk about, hospitality suites, tickets, and so on, but there's very little else to describe what it is that we're doing there. Maybe if you can expand on that.
Sure. Yeah, thank you. Through the chair, as part of our revenue strategy, we have an opportunity as a host city to sell commercial sales packages. Varying types of packages and degrees, and part of them is a hospitality program that includes access to matches here in Toronto for corporations to purchase suites, to purchase lounge passes, to purchase tickets. Those are being sold by FIFA. They are held by FIFA, and as a host city, we have an opportunity to sell them. So what we're proposing here and recommending is that we pre-purchase some of these hospitality assets so that we secure and protect them from being sold by external vendors and therefore losing the opportunity for that revenue for our host city. So we're proposing a pre-purchase of which we have many corporations and individuals in waiting to purchase these packages when they are available. So we feel confident that we will sell them and the reserve fund will be replenished upon selling the packages.
And how does FIFA make them available? Is this like, is there a moment in time when all this comes to market of sorts from FIFA, and we have, I guess, we may have first dibs at their prices? Is that it?
That's correct. So the way the hospitality program is set up, there's various different stages of sales, and we're in a window where we have an opportunity as a host city to sell the packages, and so we want to grab the inventory, protect it for ourselves, so that we can benefit from the revenue as part of our revenue strategy before it moves along to the next phase, where external vendors will be able to sell the packages, and we will lose the opportunity for that revenue.
And in this case, so why wouldn't we be purchasing far more than just the 10.7 million worth of goods? Like, why wouldn't we? This sounds to me like a big money maker. Kind of. So why wouldn't we be doing a much bigger number here?
Yeah, based on the inventory that's available, this seemed like a reasonable amount for us to pre-purchase and sort of make that initial investment. We will have the opportunity, if we have the sales, the direct sales, to purchase more. We could do that sort of down the road in some of the other phases, but we felt this was a good sort of balance for us to make a reasonable investment and leverage this opportunity at this time.
Is the number here so low because you see it as a risky venture?
I wouldn't say it's low. I feel like we feel like we're securing a good portion of the inventory that is available. I should note that our stadium, we don't have perhaps some of the same inventory as some of the large stadiums in the other host cities. So this is actually a pretty good portion of our hospitality assets that we're proposing to pre-purchase.
Somebody said earlier on that they're looking at potential revenues here for each one of the games, just on the gates. Sort of FIFA of upwards of $200 million each one. That this number in relation to that seems very, very low.
Yeah, I don't have.
Am I wrong? Is my memory incorrect?
Yeah, I don't have specific numbers on inventory and sales and revenue targets of FIFA. We actually haven't received the specific ticket pricing for the venue, for the stadium as a whole. We know the pricing on these hospitality packages and hospitality assets. So I don't have data on what FIFA anticipates as revenue from ticket sales as a whole.
I thought the number on tickets was upwards, just the general tickets, upwards of $1,000 a ticket. That's what FIFA sells for. That's what I don't know where that number came from. I don't remember where that number came from, but it seems like a reasonable number to me. So if that number is the number, then our number here in relation to that is very low.
So, Councillor Peruzza, that is your last question. I think you've got the answer on this one.
So then I would ask for a second round because I have some questions related to number 2 as well, the recommendation 2 as well.
Okay, I'll ask mine and then we'll come back to you. Okay.
Sure.
Thank you. Well, I still have my own questions, but just following on Councillor Peruzza's questions, contractually, FIFA MLSE, they're not likely to say, do you want to buy 100 million of these tickets and make all the profit? They're in this to make a profit themselves, right?
Sure, and I think we should note that, we're talking about packages that have been created for corporations. I mean,
Right.
there's still tickets that need to go on sale for public, et cetera, right?
Right.
For individuals to purchase. What we're talking about here are packages that are very driven by corporate sales.
Right, this is for the Champions Committee work to have something on offer if they're trying to bring in those corporate sponsors.
Correct.
But if we were to get into we just want to buy blocks of tickets and sell them ourselves and make the profit on them, that's not on offer.
That is correct.
Yeah, okay. I wanted to ask about, we have a couple of written deputations, one from the Community Benefit Network and another from that's with the interest in Soccer for All. But the mention in the TCBN about tariff, when I read it about within tariff actions, got me thinking. We've already adopted an agreement because FIFA has certain preferred suppliers that they want us to use for logos and things like that. I'm wondering if we're planning on going back with FIFA and revisiting for them. Do you want to reconsider any of those, given that there would be tariffs to be paid? They'd be paying them in some cases. Did they want us to do any work with them to look at more local preferred suppliers? If they wanted to make any adjustments to that list?
Yeah, that's a great comment. Obviously, for the contracts that are locked in and signed, I don't think there's an option to go back. I know that what we're doing as a secretariat is going back through some of those signed agreements with the legal team and making sure that we don't have that. That vendors don't have the option to add tariffs now to agreements
Right.
that we've already signed. Going forward, we have been, and Michael is doing a great job in leading this in terms of speaking with FIFA and talking to them about future vendors and contracts that they may be signing to be in line with our community benefits goals and strategies. So we're in constant communication with them about the vendors that they're looking to sign and the businesses that they're bringing on, and hoping that we can align on our community benefits by having local suppliers and underrepresented groups as part of their strategy as well.
Okay. And there's also the issue of, the report talks a lot about the employment opportunities, but a lot of the employment opportunities are going to happen this year as opposed to next year. They're opportunities within contracting, through the social procurement strategies that we're requiring. A lot of those things will happen. But we always have, when these things happen, we have the awkward experience as counselors and staff members. You get very, very close to the event, and then people are saying, I want a job at FIFA. and those happened months ago. And so I'm wondering if there's a promotion plan or an explainer going out to explain to people that opportunities are being generated with the companies executing, the stadium and Centennial Park, et cetera. Other opportunities will arise, but are we promoting that that's happening and that we're committed to making sure with everyone who's helping us execute the event that they're mindful of those things? And then making it possible for people to connect to that. Do we have a promotion program of our own that helps them get to those opportunities?
Yeah, I think our strategy for that is to really communicate, as was alluded to earlier. There's about 5 or 6 big vendors that are still to be signed. We're in final negotiations with a couple of those, and all of those agreements have community benefits and workforce development, social procurement, all
Right.
part of their agreements. So we're working vendor by vendor to talk about opportunities for employment, for subcontractors, how that will work, and with our social procurement and workforce development strategies top of mind, so that the vendors are very well aware of our expectations and our goals in those areas. And so we're working with them to promote those job opportunities, make sure that they're made available to local residents and people here in the city.
But requiring them to promote that they're doing it as well? Okay, okay. Thank you. Okay, those are my questions. Councillor Perruzza wanted a second round. Councillor Perruzza?
Yeah. With recommendation 2 here, the mini soccer pitches. There's very little detail in terms of how this program is going to work. I know, is it exclusively dependent on fundraising? And then what's the process? Because it seems to me, what's the process for selecting the sites and getting these things rolled out? It seems to me that the timelines are very tight, or are there no timelines with respect to this? Is this a program that's intended to run beyond the World Cup event as well?
Yeah.
So what's the structure for it? Is it exclusively dependent on fundraising, and what are we looking at in terms of rolling out these pitches, and when are they going to come online? In your view.
Through the chair, I can say that this is dependent on fundraising, so it's based on the Champions Table target and the private donations that they are seeking. In the background on that, however, our colleagues in Parks and Recreation and other divisions across the city are working very hard to identify where the pitches would go. There's several points of criteria that we have selected, probably the most prominent being in neighborhoods with underrepresented neighborhoods, so that we're increasing quality access to sport for youth in those communities. So there's a number of criteria that we're basing the selection on, and the locations. That work is underway as we speak. And we're advancing in the background while funds are being raised. Of course, we're advancing in the background the specific plan on the locations and timing for implementation.
So it's that's not, none of that is going to come to either here to this group or to council in terms of how that program is going to roll out, right? Because I guess I'm assuming timelines are very tight and better left with you folks, right?
Yeah, our intention is that we will consult with councillors on the locations, in particular with those whose areas of the city have been selected to have one of the mini pitches. So we will be communicating out to all councillors and then having specific conversations with those who will be having or who we're proposing have a mini pitch in their area.
And you've selected those neighborhoods already? Like you've got a list of where those what neighborhoods meet your criteria?
We do, yes.
Okay. And do you have a point person in Parks that one could talk to about this?
We do, and in fact, he's here in the room. If Paul would like to say a couple of words.
Through the chair, Councillor Perruzza, it's Paul Farish in Parks and Recreation. We will be following up with all councillors, as Sharon said, as soon as this is through council, and then we'll have those specific conversations with the councillors whose wards we're targeting for the 12 pitches.
All right, fair enough. And in terms of the any sense of how much money you need to raise and what the cost of these pitches is, more or less?
The target for the Champions Table is 15 million, and half of which will be going to the Soccer for All Legacy related to the 12 mini pitches, and the other half will be going to support the development at Centennial Park for the training site. And so we are, as mentioned, we are working in the background on suppliers for the mini pitch. We are researching that, we've had consultations with other cities who have been installing mini pitches. And so the Parks and Rec team have done an excellent job of researching and doing background work on the mini pitches and potential costs and suppliers.
Those are my questions. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Councillor Perruzza. If there are no more questions, I think there are no more questions. I'll go to speakers. Councillor Malik, you had a motion you wanted to move.
Thank you very much. I do have a motion. And the motion is that City Council requests the Executive Director, FIFA World Cup 2026, Toronto Secretariat, and the Chief Procurement Officer, where possible, to prioritize Canadian suppliers and increase purchasing opportunities with Indigenous, Black, and diverse suppliers and social enterprises. Yesterday, the Mayor announced our city's economic plan to continue to use all our strength and all the levers that we have to address the challenges that the tariffs and the senseless trade war have, we know will continue to add to our city, to our small businesses, and to many of the sectors. And the city to be prepared with a thoughtful and strong plan in order to address that. And on this committee, we have been prioritizing using every opportunity that we have in investing to put on a spectacular World Cup experience, to create opportunities for diverse suppliers and maximizing the economic impact, ensuring that everyone benefits, that each dollar is doing double and triple duty. And this motion continues to strengthen that effort. It adds another layer to this, which ensures that our procurements are local and that we are making our best effort to ensure that we are securing Canadian suppliers, and we are continuing to, use the efforts around the games to set an example and a bar for how we can put on something really great, and the legacy can be lasting on a lot of different fronts. And that most of all, we are meeting the realities of this moment and what we see ahead.
Okay. Are there any questions of the mover? Seeing none, then and any further speakers on the main item? Okay. Seeing none, then all that is required is to adopt Councillor Deputy Mayor Malik's motion and then the report. So let's first go to the motion. All in favor? Opposed? That is carried unanimously. And then on the three recommendations in the main item, on the item, all in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, that is carried unanimously. Okay, I need one more motion. Our favorite motion to adjourn.
I'm happy to do that.
Need a motion to adjourn.
It's tradition. I know we changed the governance, but it's our tradition. I'm keeping alive Councillor Ray's favorite motion. Thanks very much. Thank you, staff.